does.
Yep, they want to sell things, they want to get the products out there before something.
But I love Christmas. It can be all year round. Yeah. As a matter of fact, my basement is Christmas all year.
You down to the, not the park, but the Wayne County Parks, we're going to put the fantasy out and all that stuff. You drive down, one year we tried to take my grand, and she was younger, she was sleeping before we got, because the line was to drive, and, ahead of time. So. But they have, it's just catch up. And of course, in Denver, we go to Heinz Drive off there, there's a lot of, all their decorations.
Can you send it to me?
I'm too lazy because I got to take them back down. I know. And if I take them one or it's raining, not when it's a nice day.
And if you don't take them down, remember these take pictures and
DC.
Oh,
Shame you?
shame if you didn't take it, break them down first.
like me, shame.
That'd be a shame, though.
Get the shame to go. I just go, leave me alone.
Go for totality.
Hey, old people have rights to move on.
Don, if you have the camera, please. I don't know, once this isn't really an official council meeting, is a town hall meeting, and the purpose of town hall is to hear what the citizens have to say in reference to recycling. In Lincoln Park, some of you are aware of it, we had side recycling, I think, 20 years ago now at that point. Even though the recycling stopped, the ordinance was never changed, and so Lincoln has a mandate that requires recycling. So either we need to start recycling or we need to change the law. That's how it goes down to. So we recently, as a city, approved a contract with JFL for our, that is the company, for our trash hauling and such. And the contract, there was for curbside, the potential ability to go. So we, from citizens, is the feedback in reference to that. Or not, from here survey, the citizens took part in that result. But we're honored today to have Elizabeth was today from the Department of Environmental Quality from the state of Michigan. If she can give us, I think she will get the future of recycling, what we can think to what the state will approach here.
Sure. Thank you for having me this meeting a couple of days ago, which was very exciting for me. I do work for the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. I'm a recycling and waste minimization specialist in our Southeast Michigan district. So basically, I work to promote recycling in Wayne, Macomb, Clare counties. And that's been in accordance with the National Governor called again to really improve recycling. We're on the national average, which is about 30%. Two main initiatives were to increase recycling rate. First of all, to double it. We have improved our goal to actually tripling it. And then the second thing was to make sure that everyone in Michigan had convenient access to recycling. So that's where, a city like Lincoln Park comes in. We want curbside recycling in urbanized areas. So we had it county, and so for Wayne County, there's a just of communities that offer curbside recycling to all residents that are keeping that access. And so we're holding, I think, forward. Certainly, we support it. We recognize an additional. We certainly topic that people have their opinion, but as state looking to version, we're looking at our environment, and that's the direction we're going. Just very briefly, also mention that our solid waste part 1 are currently going to have amendments introduced that will change things and establish benchmark recycling standards that would call counties access standard up to 2025. So that it should be introduced in the next couple of weeks. If that does, that's something in the future. In the time, we work on a daily basis with communities to try to help and promote recycling. And that's kind of my answer any questions for anyone. Yes?
What about China's possible exclusion of recyclable waste?
Right, so that's for real. They have stopped accepting the vast majority of materials based on contamination. So in the term, that has had a dramatic effect on the price of the commodities and on the market value. So things are bottoming out. This is a tough time recycling. About that. What's happening with things in domestic, a few I actually do have build plants here in the to do improve processing and capacity. So the recycling as a whole will rebound from that. It will come back out of it, but it's going to take some time because we need to develop more domestic markets and not be as reliant on shipping everything overseas.
What you said because of contamination, isn't it a political rebellion?
No, that's not my understanding. No, I'm not sure what you're referring to in retaliation to what.
I'm going to interject here because we're not in for a political debate back and forth. But I think that this meeting is what their beliefs if you want recycling. You're talking about for hours here.
You're right. Absolutely, like I said, it needs to be improved, and there's a lot of work that's happening. Recycling away. For the moment, the biggest source where it was going, it's stopped going there. But now we're adjusting to that. The whole world, not just us, we're adjusting to that. And it does have to do with contamination. And the line is that the less contaminated the load, meaning if it's got the right things and not the wrong things mixed with it, the higher value of the materials. That stands regardless of whether China wants to accept our materials or not. Okay. Anything else? Thank you.
Says something else that you're going to hang through the meeting. Go ahead.
Just that's one of the bigger issues that we hear is why do you landfill anyways. I think the interest state is going in terms to incentivize those first, the resource, the recycling. And are there things in line from the state to try to incentivize companies to use recycled goods within the?
There are market development programs. We do have a market development reflector in his area. I can't really do the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to put, manufacturers who are looking for recycled content in contact with those folks in Michigan who have that, to try to close loop, if you will, and keep those materials here. Other than that, like, there aren't policy incentives. However, the grant program we have for the last 4 years and offer money to communities or to help them improve their recycling.
I'm trying to lead you to that part.
Okay.
Could you just give an overview of the community that's trying to recycling or start recycling back up?
Sure. So yeah, we've kind of changed programs. For a couple of the last ones we've done, fund the transition from bins to cars. That's really recognized great way to increase your volume. So did a couple of grants on that. We've done simple infrastructure grants, which we plan to do starting over. So need to maybe help infrastructure. So that would be money to go to recovery facility, maybe, or repay the air so that or like maybe containers. How often costs if you were going to ones who are going from no program to a program usually are usually quite competitive because they're going to be getting a stream that's right now not getting collected at all. So, okay. Any other questions?
What does that process roll to get started up here?
The grant, so like our grant, we plan to proposals here probably by the end of this month, their timeline, however they want to, get that program started. So if you guys were going to do something curbside, that would be between you wanted to roll that out within our grant timeline, which we have a couple of years to expend those dollars, then we would be able to support that. Again, it is a grant, so you would be judged against other communities. But we have more money to work with this year, and the legislature is the importance of this. So.
Whose responsibility would it be to educate these who put dirty pizza boxes in and they think that's okay?
Right, so that comes down to either the community or the hauler. I would highly recommend if you do have a curbside recycling program that with your hauler to make sure that one, they educate when the container goes to the house, but that there's follow-up after that. If you don't do continuous education, it's spot.
And just in our station, we said us, all the education systems did deploy curbside and this lot of material in terms of how they would go about it.
Mm-hmm. It's out there. It's just the kind of thing you wanna establish your program for sure. Yes.
Do anything with any type of program. Like I know if you have a more program, the more into your house and you
That's basically through the hauler. There are some organizations, I think, that would hire essentially to do even that kind of a program. Usually in the city of Detroit, I believe that they have a room in GFL as one of their services. So servicers, so that might be something you could work with your hauler on.
Yeah, if I could. They did it, for instance, they had supplies today. Most of these programs are very similar. The more you recycle, you get rebates and for the off of things. So they're all the same standard.
Detroit.
Yes.
I'd like Matt Flechter's waste to green city technologies that and Wayne County specifically, but Michigan indirectly is a good model for that. So I get information from you.
Okay.
Yeah, the microphone Elgar has. When we get to where people wish to speak recycling, you can grab that. Want to talk from your seat, or feel free to come up to the podium there. A couple facts here as we get going. The cost, according to the contract, to have a container to the house, which would be a full-size container, and have done on a other week basis, $4.75 per stop, year one, and then it goes up incrementally 15 cents a year after that. So you're looking at $57 and 1,075 stops. So almost 2,000 stop at the. Well, I'll let him. Should only be a couple cents more.
Oh, just a word of working out.
Grab the phone wherever.
Try there.
I can't even talk to you. 5 for stop. How much my water bill?
Would be $57.
$57 a year.
So it'd be $123
Monthly fee. Yeah. Just kind of in perspective, the GFL contract, weekly curbside, $775 per month. That would go up to $12 per contract currently would be.
You're AA. You're not right.
Risk manager, and see what's in there.
No.
Mayor, if I could question?
Yes.
This is for the first year. Are we obviously multi-year? How many years, though, are we talking?
Well, the current contract with GFL is 5 years.
Would we
So we're in the first year right now.
we'd be looking at 4 years of recycling?
It'd be 4 years under this contract.
Okay.
It's like it could, I could remember still bigger one and not the one sort of container you're going to have to fill out, which means that somebody who's having them now, it's because of they just having a big tank put in the backyard next to the other one and then roll out with the weeks.
Yeah, what we talked about, and again, because we wanted to keep it somewhat of what the final selection would be, the demand was going to be, no area with the bigger one, but it's going to be a mix. Have some residents, 64 gallons is not going to be enough. And so you need a selection between the 96 gallon, the 64 gallon. You go down to even like it's 35 gallon, but you're going to have a little for that.
We'll have more recycling. We're going to be for a bunch of years. It's mandatory, and not any robbed trash.
Well, I come from Dearborn, so I did it a long time, 15, 17 years ago. We had small containers at the time.
No, those are gone.
Okay.
We got to keep them, but we have the
Big ones.
green bins, just like the gray ones are for trash.
That might be so to use a truck rather than.
Go ahead, James. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Technology. So the recycling survey, it was available for about a month from September 21st till October 17th. And then 931 total responses, which we weren't quite sure how many people we would get, but I was pleasantly surprised with that. There were 8 questions in total. The survey shouldn't have taken more than about a minute and a half. So as I present the questions, they'll follow a similar format with a graph such as this, and then followed with some more details, just kind of the raw numbers. So the first question, we simply wanted to know who was answering, and as you can see, 928 people responded, and only 3 people skipped it, and 8 really honest people who just seemed to care about recycling a lot said they didn't live in the city of Lincoln Park, but they still responded to the survey. Question 2 was, do you rent or own your current home? As you can see, 87.1% own their home, 9.6% were renters, and 3.3% were in the other category. Question 3, we wanted to get an idea about how important recycling was to those who responded. This question asked the respondents to rate on a scale of 1 to 5 the importance, with 1 star meaning not important, 5 stars meaning very important. And as you can see, almost 60% of those who responded gave that a 5-star rating of very important. And then when you add in the 4 and 5 stars together, you get about 3/4 of the total respondents for that survey question. Question 4 was important because it was the only question of the 8 that had.
I know they were done, but I wasn't sure what the survey
Yeah,
said.
but it's easier to see on that side what the question was.
Yeah, this will be available tomorrow as well on the website. It'll be in this form, and then I'll put it in a PDF form as well.
Okay.
So question, the answer, as you'll see in question 8, we wanted to see what kind of public outreach we needed to do to bring on a recycling program. Almost everyone responded that they live in a single-family home at 98.5%. With that response, only a half a percentage live in an apartment, 0.8 condo, townhouse, or duplex, and 0.2 living in a home that didn't fit that criteria. So the final question, we wanted to know just how much public outreach and education we had to do. As you know, many people aren't familiar with the recycling program in the city. Question 8 asked, what do you think is the most difficult aspect of recycling on a daily basis? 39% said they just didn't have the space. 21.6 said it was inconvenient. 10.5, they weren't quite sure how to recycle. 3.9 said it was confusing. And 24.5 was an open-ended question. The responses range from people saying that it wasn't difficult. They drive to Livonia to drop it off. And it'll be a little bit easier. It'll be difficult to see on here because I list all 224, I believe. So when this is up online, I can cycle through this now, but it will be very difficult on the next few slides, as you can see. But all that'll be listed in a PDF form on the website. We'll post it on Facebook as well, so that you can kind of dig into it and see what those responses were.
James, could you do this multiple times? Could you fill this out multiple
No,
times?
so you were limited. The only way you could fill it out more than once is if you were on a smartphone or you had multiple laptops, because the website that this was on, it checks your IP address. So you had to either be really proficient at changing your IP address or go to Starbucks, Tim Hortons, a place where your device would pick up a different IP address.
That's true.
A month. I can go back to the beginning.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just curious how long.
Yeah, September 21st to last Wednesday, the 17th.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Say your title so that everybody knows who you are.
I'm James Ferlazzi, I'm a city manager.
City Management Coordinator. All right. Well,
I would just like to say that if you recall, when you gave us a check-in, how many people went to recycled? I have relatives who Taylor, Brown, and Canton's far away from us, but they all have the big, smaller one. A lot of the people on the streets are elbow, no problem, because they're a matter of getting used to it.
the microphone.
Gets more into it and you start with this increased cost. We need to handle what you think that it makes it cheaper, but it may not be a way to go in the long run.
As the old guy across the street from he has no Kroger, he throws in anyway. Sometimes just come over, put my right. If there's any kind of option, the El Ringo person living in the house, in neighborhood, good, hey, come over, give, don't have, a lot. Because one thing I hear is, if you come, my taxes are.
Why would people in the city want to pay for something that's going to go in the landfill? That's how I look at it. As I recycle, I love recycling. I know a lot of people like it, but and repurposed. I just think all the way around. And Wyandotte goes, I did some research with them. I talked to Rothenmall from DPS. Their recycling center is free, but it's not really free because they pay for it on their winter and summer taxes. Go there and you don't have to pay anything. And also, too, they offer curb and you can out it. So I'm more to them. I was kind of busy. I didn't talk anymore. And I was thinking we do like them and get something behind the DPS where it's accessible to all the residents and lower charge, and we can look at doing that. Because the Wyandotte Recycling Center has something you can recycle much there. Oil, antifreeze, glass, all that stuff. I think we look at that, and then I asked the manager if we get a contract left with them, and we signed years, we know that this stuff's going to fail. We should be in there that we can get out of the contract. They told me directly, the MRF Center, there's no guarantee going to get recycled. They don't have any after that happens. So I think everybody needs to look at the sounds good. I like it, but if it's not going to get recycled in the long run, it's my personal opinion. Thank you.
Well, I'm Jim Bull, and I'm in Park. I'm also president of Detroit Audubon, the environmental groups in Michigan. Definitely in favor of this, because one of the biggest threat to birds and these is global warming.